Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So, amo nag-video among reporting for today kay ang signal are kay hinay kayo. And our title of our reporting for today is about retraction of Rizal. Jose Rizal is identified as a hero of the revolution for his writings that center on the ending colonialism and liberating Filipino minds to contribute to creating the Filipino nation. The great volume of Rizal's life work was committed to this end, particularly the more influential ones, No Limitang Ire and El Filibusterismo. His essay vilify not the Catholic religion but the friars, the main agents of injustice in the Philippine society. So, kahibaw naman ta nga si Rizal is the one of the hero during the revolution. Tungod sa iyang writings about colonialism of the Spaniards, two of the most influential nga iyang gisuwat were No Limitang Ire and El Filibusterismo. I know we are very familiar for those during high school. So tanan man jud ta naka-lesson ni ngani. Therefore, if atong una-unaon, those writing of Rizal against the friars during that era and against the Catholic Church na-cause jud og damage sa iyang pagka-Filipino revolutionary. It is understandable, therefore, that any piece of writing from Rizal that recounts everything he wrote against the friars and the Catholic Church in the Philippines could deal heavy damage to his image as a prominent Filipino revolutionary. Such documents purportedly exist, allegedly signed by Rizal a few hours before his execution. These documents, referred to as the Retraction, declares Rizal's belief in the Catholic Church, in the Catholic faith, and retracts everything he wrote against the Church. So, that is why it is allegedly said that before gi-execute or gipatay si Rizal, ni-sign kuno si Rizal og retraction letter or known as the Retraction. But this retraction letter is continuing debate among historians, meaning dili pa ni siya proven or confirm nga si Rizal gyud ang nipirma. So dili pa siya proven na ang about retraction letter. So mo ni ang letter ni Rizal, document found by Father Manuel Garcia on May 18, 1935. So si Manuel Garcia ang naka-founded kanang letter. So ang retraction letter nag-declare or Rizal belief or pagtuon niya sa Catholic faith. So ang retraction letter maunang nag-declare on Rizal belief or pagtuon niya sa Catholic faith and retracts, meaning gibawi niya ang tanang gisuwat niya na against the church. So I will read the letter of Rizal. I declare myself a Catholic and in this religion in which I was born and educated, I wish to live and die. I retract with all my heart whatever in my words, writings, publication, and conduct has been contrary to my character as son of Catholic Church. I believe and I confess whatever that she teaches, and I submit to whatever she demands. I abominate Mansori as the enemy which is the Church and the society prohibited by the Church. The diocesan prelate may, as the superior ecclesiastical authority, make public this suspicious manifestation of mine in order to repair the scandal which my act may have caused, and so that God and people may pardon me. Manila, 29 of December 1896. Jose Rizal. As you can read in the letter, gibawi kuno tanan ni Rizal ang tanan niyang gipublish. So gibawi niya tanan. Ay niyang tanang gipublish or giingon against the Catholic Church ang iyang gi-abominate. Ang Mansari kay he wished to die as a Catholic. So nagwish si Rizal nga he wish die as a Catholic. Rizal was born and raised as a Catholic. That is why this issue is very intriguing between the church and anti-retraction. Naay perma ni Rizal sa letter, but until now, dili proven nga si Rizal gyud ang nipirma adto. This is still ongoing debate among historians. So, still ongoing pa siya. So, we have 4 iteration of this text of this retraction. And I will read that. These are 4 iterations of the text of this retraction. The first was published in La Voz Española and Diario de Manila on the day of execution of December 30, 1896. The second text appeared in Barcelona, Spain in the magazine La Juventud a few months after the execution. February 14, 1897, from anonymous writer who was later on revealed to be Father Vicente Bulgar. However, the original text was only found in Archdiocese archives on May 18, 1935, after almost 4 decades of disappear. So, my member will report the remaining lesson, and that's all my topic about retraction.
Good afternoon. I am John Hill Kalipusan, and today we'll give a brief discussion as a continuation to our topic, which is the retraction of Rizal. Now let's proceed to the Balaguer testimony. So it says that despite all the testimonies of Father Vicente Balaguer to support the allegedly retraction document made by Rizal, doubts still remain on its authenticity. First of all, kinsa man ni si Father Vicente Balaguer. So he is a Jesuit priest who claimed to be the one to visit Rizal during his last days. And matud pa niya, siya ang nag-convince ni Rizal to retract or magbalik loob sa Panginoon and to neglect Masonry. When we say Masonry, it refers to a group of people who are against the bad governance of the Spaniards. And ang mga members ani, dili lang mga ordinary people, but mga professionals sama ni Rizal. Now, Father Balaguer claimed that he was personally present and involved in the negotiation. He even claimed that he was the one who has assisted Rizal most of his days in prison. According to him, Rizal woke up several times, confessed 4 times, attended a mass, received communion, and prayed the rosary. So, matud palagi ni Father Balaguer, siya dapat ang i-consider as a primary source sa kung unsay tinuod nga kaagi ni Rizal before siya gi-execute. It is because, according to him, he was actually present in those moments, and siya mismo ang nakastorya ni Rizal. Based sa iyang statements, si Rizal daw namata og kadaghan, nangumpisal, nisimba, and nagpray og rosary. However, para sa mga suod ni Rizal, kung sila ang pasultion, it is quite unusual and wa matugma sa personality ni Rizal, ang giingon ni Balaguer. So, adto palang daan, kaduda-duda na ang iyang statements para sa mga tao, especially for the members of the Masonry, nga mao'y nakailag ayo sa karakter ni Rizal. And according to Father Balaguer, he and Father Villaclara arrived in Rizal's prison cell around 10 o'clock in the morning. He mentioned that in their encounter with Rizal, they persuaded him not to spend so much time discussing faith-related issues and focus instead on how to die in the state of grace so that he could enter heaven. Rizal softened a bit when he warned him that his soul would go to hell if he did not return to the Catholic fold. So, ang ilang gihimo to convince Rizal is ilang gihadlok si Rizal nga if dili siya magbalik loob sa simbahan, dili siya mahilangit o diretso siyang madong sa imperno. In my opinion, sa intellectual capacity nga naa ni Rizal o sa iyang kabright, mubigay ra ka siya dayon tungod lang kay gihadlok siya nga maimperno siya if dili siya muretract. To think that he grew up in a very religious family. He grew up knowing the context of heaven and hell. But since he saw how the church and Spanish rulers abused their power unto his fellow Filipino people, he became the eye-opener of our people through his books Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo on how the church and Spanish government manipulated and abused the people. So, it was very questionable how easy nga napa-agree kintahay ni Balaguer si Rizal to retract all his works and actions against the Spanish government and the Catholic Church. So, what Father Balaguer did to make his statement credible is he took an oath or nanumpa siya nga tinuod ang iyang ipangsulti. So, mao ni ang iyang gipangingon. In his sworn affidavit he wrote, "Of all that has been narrated, I am positive by personal knowledge. I have personally intervened and witnessed it myself, and I subscribed and confirmed it with an oath. Unless perhaps someone may think that I could not remember it with so many details after 20 years. I testify that on the very day of Rizal's death, I wrote a very detailed account of everything. The original of this account I have preserved, and from it I have taken all the data of the present narration." So that's how Father Balaguer took his oath. And although nanumpa siya nga tinuod ang iyang gipangsulti, dili gyapon malikayan sa mga tao nga magduda sa iyang statements about the retraction of Rizal. Kay kung buton naon, if they really acknowledge or kung ilaha pang gi-honor ang pagbabalik loob ni Rizal sa Catholic Church, why is it nga after namatay si Rizal wala siya tagaig proper burial? So, these are just one of the questions that leads to doubts. And usapa daghan kayog loopholes sa statements ni Father Balaguer nga wala motugma sa kung unsay personality ni Rizal. On the other hand, ang retraction document nga ilang gi-publish na ay differences sa stroke of letters compared sa ubang mga akda ni Rizal. So for other people, the retraction document was believed to be forged. That is why up to this day, the retraction of Rizal is still debatable. Tungod sa kadaghang questionables, not only with Father Balaguer's testimony, but also with the retraction document itself. And also, there's another version of the story. It's not only Father Balaguer ang nai statements about sa retraction of Rizal. We also have Federico Moreno, and his statements could be considered as a destroyer or siya ang niguba sa credibility sa statements ni Father Balaguer. However, it's another long story, so ang modiscuss ani will be the next reporter. So that's all from my part. Thank you so much for listening.
The testimony of Corpio de Vigilancia. Testimony of Corpio de Vigilancia. The Corpio de Vigilancia de Manila, or Security Corps of Manila, was the intelligence service that the Spanish colonial government created in 1895. It was organized primarily to gather information on the activities of the Katipunan members and supporters. So, ang Corpio de Vigilancia o Security Corps of Manila ay isang intelligence service na likha ng kolonyal na pamahalaan ng Espanya noong 1895. Ito ay inorganisa pangunahin upang mangalap ng mga impormasyon sa mga aktibidad ng mga membro at taga-suporta ng Katipunan. So, si Corpio, inatasan ang mga ahente na subaybayan ang mga aktibidad ng mga pinaghihinalaang membro ng Katipunan. So, dapat silang mag-ulat ng lahat ng uri ng chismis, mangulikta ng mga balita, tukuyin ang mga financier ng Katipunan.
Primary sources, eyewitness account of the last hours of Rizal. On December 26, 1896, the military court tried Jose Rizal and later found him guilty of rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy. That time, the Spanish authorities believed that Rizal's writing fatally and necessarily incited a rebellion, which by 1896 had already become a revolution. On December 29 at 6 a.m., Capitan Rafael Dominguez read before Rizal his death sentence. His execution was scheduled the following day. At around 7 a.m. of December 29, Rizal was transferred to his cell in Fort Santiago accompanied by his counsel Senior Tabel de Andrade and the Jesuit priest Villa Clara and some Spanish official and several priests, his former professors with whom he supposedly discussed reason and religion. At the urgings of the former moments after Rizal entering the death cell, he was served a light breakfast. At exactly 9, the assistant of the plaza, Senior Maury, asked Rizal if he wanted anything. Rizal replied that he only wanted a prayer book which was brought to him shortly by Father March. Then Senior Andrade left death row at 10 and Rizal spoke for a long while with the Jesuit fathers, March and Villa Clara regarding religious matters it seems. It appears that these two presented him with a prepared retraction on his life and deeds that he refused to sign. They argued that matter when Rizal ate some pouch of egg and a little chicken. Afterwards, he asked to live and write and wrote for a long time by himself. In his last hours, Rizal read the Bible and Thomas A. Kempis' Imitation of Christ, which he later dedicated to Josephine Bracken. Josephine Bracken is a common law wife of Jose Rizal during his exile in Dapitan in the province of Zamboanga del Norte in the southern Philippines. He also wrote the poem Mi Ultimo Adios. Mi Ultimo Adios in English is My Last Farewell. It is such poetry, expresses love, death, unfathomable grief, and a man sure of his own convictions. It contains lines that enlightened and ignited the flame of millions of Filipinos' hearts. It is considered one of the evidence that Rizal did not retracted his beliefs. This poem also Rizal shows that after the hardship and sacrifices we will meet freedom, and it is also tells us how beautiful the Philippines is and how Rizal wants us to learn from our past and to see the truth about how the world view us. After Rizal wrote the poem, his family came to see him. He asked pardon from his mother and talked to his sisters as they entered his cell one by one. Rizal also wrote a letter addressed to Pasiano Rizal. He asked his brother to ask their father for forgiveness for all the pain he had caused to him. To his friend Ferdinand Blometrit, he wrote, "When you receive this letter, I shall dead by then. Tomorrow at 7, I shall be shot, but I am innocent of the crime of rebellion. I am going to die with a tranquil conscience." Then at 3 in the afternoon, Father March entered the chapel and Rizal handed him what he had written. Immediately, the chief of the firing squad, Senior Del Fresno, and the assistant of the plaza, Senior Maure, were informed. They entered death row and together with Rizal signed a document that the accused had written.
Eyewitness account of the last hours of Rizal. Rizal died at exactly 7:03 a.m. and his last words were consummatum est. It is finished during his execution by firing squad in Bagumbayan on December 30, 1896. Alas 5 sa buntag, pizza 30, the lover of Rizal arrived at the prison dress in mourning. Only the former entered the chapel, followed by a military chaplain whose name cannot ascertain. Donning his formal clothes, unaided by a soldiers of the artillery, the nuptials of Rizal and the woman who had been his lover were performed at the point of death. In Articulo Mortis, after embracing him, he left flooded of tears. Sa alas 7:03 sa December 30, 1896, sa Lunita, Manila, the 35 years old patriot was shot in the back by a firing squad. He hesitated, turned halfway around to face his executioners, and fell on his back to face the Philippine son.
Okay, muna akong topic. Eyewitness account of last hours of Rizal. This account corroborate the existence of the retraction document, giving it credence. The retraction of Rizal remains to these days a controversy. Many scholars, however, agree that the documents does not tarnish the heroism of Rizal. So, ang pasabot anak kay ang pag-retract ni Rizal kay controversial gyapon. Kana kay tungod basin paog naay mga sources nga giingon nga ni-retract siya, dili kayo strong ang sources, pero ni-retract o wala, dili kini kapasabot nga mawala ang significance ni Rizal sa atong pagkabot sa kagawasan gikan sa mga Kastila.
Connection to the Katipunan. Rizal connection to the Katipunan is undeniable. In fact, the precursor of Katipunan as an organization is the La Liga Filipina, an organization Rizal Bonifacio as one of its members, but La Liga Filipina was short-lived as the Spaniards exiled Rizal to the Pitan. La Liga Filipina, or the Philippine League, a progressive organization, it was founded and created by Jose Rizal in the house of Doroteo Anjunco at Elia Street, Tondo, Manila, on July 3, 1892. Rizal taught by organizing the league when he was at Hong Kong with the help of Jose Maria Basa. He wrote the constitution of the league. Some of non-members were Andres Bonifacio, Diodato Arellano, and Apolinario Mabini. The Liga Filipina member was Jose Rizal is a founder, Ambrosio Salvador, president of the league, Agustin de la Rosa, fiscal, Bonifacio Arevalo, treasurer, Diodato Arellano, secretary and the first supreme leader of Katipunan, Domingo Franco, president and supreme leader, Diodato Arellano, secretary and treasurer, Isidro Francisco, fiscal, Apolinario Mabini was a secretary, Marcelo H. Del Pilar, editor-in-chief, Graciano Lopez Llana, former editor-in-chief, Andres Bonifacio was a supreme leader of Katipunan and lead the cry of Pugadlawin. Mamerto Natividad, one of the leaders of the revolution in Nueva Ecija. Moises Salvador, master of the Mason in Balagtas. Memoriano Adriano, chief guard of the Lodge of the Mason in Balagtas. Jose Edison, master of Lodge of the Mason in Taliba. Ambrosio Rianjares Bautista, war advisor during the First Philippine Republic, author of the Philippine Declaration of Independence. Timoteo Lanoza, state of the deposed to dispel the Spanish trail in the Philippines, 1889. Marcelino de Santos, bidder and assistant of La Solidaridad. Paulino Zamora, master of the Mason in Luzon. Procopio Bonifacio, Juan Julieta, member of Lodge of the Mason in Luzon, member Supreme Council. Doroteo Anjunco, member of Lodge of the Mason in Luzon. Arcadio del Rosario, publicist of Lodge of the Mason in Balagtas. Timoteo Pais, member of Supreme Council. Why did La Liga Filipina fail? It because the propaganda movement did not succeed in its pursuit of reforms. The colonial government did not agree to any of its demands. Why did Jose Rizal excel in the Pitan? In the Pitan, exile was to end in exchange for transfer as military doctor in Cuba. He was on board ship when the 1896 revolution outbreak took place, and, and so was sent instead to Barcelona, Spain for imprisonment. Eventually, he was returned to Manila for trial and later execution in that year. That's all. Thank you.
Rizal was a member of Katipunan, also known as La Liga Filipina from 1892 to 1896. Si Rizal ay dating membro ng Katipunan o mas kilala sa tawag na La Liga Filipina mula 1892 hanggang 1896. Out of 28 members of leadership, 13 of them were ex-La Liga Filipinos. Katipuneros used Rizal's name as a password to communicate each other. Ang mga Katipuneros ay ginagamit ang pangalan ni Rizal bilang password para mag-usap sa isa't isa.
In 1896, the Katipuneros decided to inform Rizal of their plans to launch the revolution, and they sent Pio Valenzuela to visit Rizal in Dapitan. Valenzuela's account on his meeting with Rizal has been greatly doubted by many scholars, but according to him. So, ang mga Katipuneros, nag-decide sila nga i-inform si Rizal about sa ilang plano sa revolusyon. Ug ilang gipadala si Pio Valenzuela para bisitahon si Rizal sa Dapitan. Pero ang pagkikita ni Pio kay Rizal is gidudahan ug dako sa mga scholars. Rizal objected to the plans, saying that doing so would be tantamount to suicide since it would be difficult to fight the Spaniards who had the advantage of military resources. He added that the leaders of the Katipunan must do everything they could to prevent the spilling of Filipino blood. Valenzuela informed Rizal that the revolution could inevitably break out. Katipuneros were to be discovered by the Spaniards. Then, ning object si Rizal sa plano ng mga Katipuneros, kaya ang plano nila is tantamount. Tantamount means equivalent to or the same as. It means ang plano nila is equal ra sa murag mag-suicide since ang mga Spaniard has the advantage of military resources. Ug dapat paningkamutan sa mga leaders sa Katipunan nga walay mutagas or mubanat nga dugo sa mga Pilipino at para maiwasan din ang mga madugong labanan. Pero Pio said to Rizal that dili ning mapugnan once madiskubre sa mga Spaniards ang about sa Katipunan. And also one thing why Rizal objected the plans of the Katipunan is he said that he has always opposed, fought, and made clear that armed revolution was impossible, absurd, and disastrous. Rizal advised Valenzuela that the Katipunan should first secure the support of wealthy Filipinos to strengthen their cause, and suggested Antonio Luna be recruited to direct the military movement of the revolution. Unya, nag-advise si Rizal ni Valenzuela nga dapat unahon og secure sa mga Katipunan ang mga datong nga mga Filipino to support them para supportahan sila sa mga kalihukan sa revolusyon, especially sa mga pagkaon, mga kagamitan o most importantly is mga firearms para gamiton sa revolusyon. Ug nag-suggest si Rizal nga i-recruit si Antonio Luna para pangunahan ang military movement sa revolusyon. Dahil sa may malawak na karanasan o kaalaman sa pagkikipagdigma si General Antonio Luna. Nalaman po ni Rizal na may karanasan si Luna when Rizal prompted or to challenge Luna to a duel because that time Luna courted Nelly Bausted, a woman who was also courted by Jose Rizal.